Salutations readers, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nkechi, and for today this is going to be the Syndianapolis 500 reading challenge vlog. So if you're not sure what this challenge even is, it's actually a challenge that Sid from Sid Bookworm created about a year ago in honor of the Indianapolis 500. And since, well, Sid lives in Indiana, it makes sense that she wants to commemorate kind of like that, such an event as a reading challenge. So for me, I was like, you know what? I wanted to do this actually originally when I had 500 subscribers. I'm actually way over it now, but I wanted to do this reading challenge vlog during that time, but I didn't have the time and I couldn't really do it. I couldn't really focus, but I'm like, you know what? It's about to have the Indianapolis 500 is actually going to happen pretty soon. It is in the month of May, which I had no idea actually the Indianapolis 500, it happens during the month of May. So honestly, good timing for me at least. But I will be linking in the video description down below Sid's original video if y'all want to check it out, which I highly recommend. It's very, very fun. And for me, I just wanted to be able to see, I wanted to see if I could read 500 pages in 500 minutes. I'm not totally confident that I would be able to do a page a minute, but I wanted to at least try. So I have a few options right here. As far as the books that I will be focusing on in this vlog, I only have a few short books. Takes me, I do have a very long book that I could just focus in for this one vlog, but I wanted to get through a lot of these books, especially since some of them are library books. So let's get through those first. First up in my TBR is If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English by Noor Naga. I have this book physically. I think I bought it sometime last year. I do have the audiobook available to me through my library, but I will only be counting the physical pages. There's nothing for this vlog is that I really want to focus on reading with my eyeballs. So if there are audiobook if I am listening to an audiobook, I don't want to count that. I only want to count things that I can read with my eyeballs. So whether that's digital or physical pages, that's what we're focusing on. So with An Egyptian Cannot Speak English, I did start it, and I've been wanting to read it for a while, honestly, because I've seen it around, I think mostly Bookstagram. So that's only really where I really see people really read this book. All I know is that it's dual perspective. It's very much play around form and structure, because it's split into a few parts. But it is between, I think, an Egyptian-American woman who moves to Cairo for some reason. And then we have this Egyptian man who went from one small town in Egypt and moves to Cairo. And I think they meet, they fall in love, but something happens to separate them, I guess. That's all I really know. There's actually nothing about this. There's no synopsis in the back. It's just all endorsements. So I generally have no idea what's even in the synopsis, so not sure what to say or what to expect, but I've seen people read this, I've seen people really enjoy it, and I want to be one of those people who enjoy it. Next up, I have Forest of Noise, Poems by Musab Abu Toa. This is actually a book I have for my Asian Readathon TBR. Actually, no, it's actually a possibility, a potential for my Asian Readathon TBR, actually. But this is actually another poetry collection. I read this poet's poetry, Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear, earlier this year, and this is the newest one. It came out sometime last year, and I think Musab actually got a Pulitzer Prize actually recently for commentary, so congratulations to him for that. But I really want to read this poetry collection. If you did not know, Musab Abu Toha is Palestinian. He has family that is living specifically in Gaza, specifically in the occupied Palestine. And I've been wanting to read this poetry collection, so I'm really glad that I got the poetry collection physically. But since it is a library book and a lot of people have it on hold, I need to get through this pretty quickly. So thankfully, at least I have something a little bit short to get me through with this challenge to at least read enough pages. And now the last thing that's pretty big chunker that I think will take up majority of the pages is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, the third and final book in the Brown Sisters trilogy. So we're following Eve Brown. She's the youngest Brown sister. She's like a hot mess. Looks like her love interest is Jacob Wayne, and he's a bed and breakfast owner, and I think he gets hurt because of Eve, so now she has to help him in this bed and breakfast thing. So yeah, we shall see how that goes. Very curious to see what I would think about this one, because I really did enjoy Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I didn't love Danny Brown, but I'm hoping with Eve we can go right back up again as far as my enjoyment and my love for the romance. So we'll see what I think about this. But this is pretty much my main TBR. I know I'm not one for TBRs, but for reading challenge vlogs, I like to have okay, these are what I'm going to be reading to help me focus, because with a reading challenge vlog, I need to focus. I need to lock in. Okay, I've been wanting to finish reading all these books very, very soon, especially If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English. I need to get through this book, and then I need to get through these library books, so I need to lock in here. But anyways, as far as how I'm gonna do this challenge vlog, I want to go in by bit, like in intervals, basically, since for 500 minutes, that's about 8 hours and 20 minutes. So I figured, why not update y'all every 2 hours and 5 minutes? You know, that way y'all can see like my progress and like whatever I'm reading and stuff, and I can give y'all my updates about 4 times. So yeah, I will try to read as much as I can within the 500 minutes. If I don't end up reading 500 pages, it is what it is. But ideally, at least 500 pages, because honestly, all these books combined, it would be all combined would be over, I think, 500 pages. So if I manage to do that, that'd be awesome. If not, it is what it is. But we need to at least get through 2 of these books, for sure. But anyways, that is it. That's all I have right now for our intro. And let's get right into the vlog. Salutations, y'all. So I have read for about 2 hours, 5 minutes. So this will be, I guess, our first update or pit stop. I've been reading If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English by Nornaga. I've made it to page 124. So I read about 120 pages. So yeah, 1 page per minute. Basically, we're on track here as far as timing. Nothing more, nothing less, which is still fine. Better than I thought, for sure. So far, I'm definitely over halfway through. I might actually be nearly 2/3 of the way through this. Like, I am very much intrigued and hooked with this story. So with this story, we don't actually have the names of our protagonists, but again, like I said, it's dual perspective. One of them is an Egyptian American woman who's moved to Cairo from New York, and then we have an Egyptian man who moved from, I think, a small town that I already forgot what it was called, to Cairo, and their experiences while living in Cairo is vastly different, which is to be expected. But I really like on how the author really talks about identity, culture, diaspora, especially diaspora within the Egyptian American woman, but also culture in between being part of the diaspora and also someone who's living part of the who lives in the countries, familiar with the dialect and all the things, all culture norms, but also someone who comes from like a lower social class, lower just class in general. And while the Egyptian American woman from New York to Cairo, like, she's a foreigner, she's definitely other, but she has more money than him. He is also the guy is dealing with like a drug addiction as well. So kind of want to for sure on drug addiction because it is a drug addiction. So content warnings for drug addiction. It's very much on page. It's very much in the thoughts of the main guy here. If that's something that if that's like a topic that you are not comfortable with, like it's too much for you, then maybe stay clear from the book. But it's definitely there. There's also sexual harassment as well. Mentions of rape as well. So fair warning of that. Nothing towards, at least that I think, anyways. I know it's very interesting on how the author writes the story. Like, it really does play in the conventions of structure and form. Because then the part 1, which I wasn't reading for the most part here, part 1 is like having these questions. And then we like got the prose stuff with like regarding the story, which was really interesting. And now that I'm in part 2, we don't have those questions anymore. All we're doing is just like having like these bits of chapters, and also we have footnotes in part 2. Part 3 I can just glean through here, and it's very, very different as well, which we'll talk about once I actually finish the book. But I really like how the author writes this in form and also structure. It's very, very interesting. It's like, this is kind of stuff like I could glean. This seems a little bit familiar to me, but I don't think I read a book quite like it if Egyptian cannot speak English, and I'm really glad that I am currently reading it. So yeah, I'm definitely going to finish reading this book. I think I will actually be able to finish it, because I have less than... Maybe I won't. I don't know. No, I will, actually. Hold on, what am I talking about? Yes, I will. Yeah, I'll finish this book in the next 2 hours and 5 minutes, like the next pit stop update, basically. So by then, I'll give y'all my full thoughts on Egyptian cannot speak English, but this is definitely something that I'm like, okay, does this author have, like, more works? I think there was a work prior to this. I don't know if that's, like, a novel or poetry or not, but, like, I definitely want to read more from this author, because this is very interesting. Like, if any of y'all are curious about this book, I recommend. And I do recommend the audiobook as well. It's also dual narrators as well, since it's also dual POV, so you get the benefit of that. And also the author actually narrates the Egyptian American woman's perspective. So if you want to hear the author narrating her own story, you got that part in here. And then we have a male narrator for the Egyptian guy. So yeah, very much happy to report that I am indeed finding this book very fascinating and enjoying it. So I will let y'all know my full thoughts after the next pit stop update. Salutations, y'all. It is, I think, 11 p.m. on Saturday. I also have just realized, actually I realized this hours ago, but I didn't tell y'all that with this background and stuff, not where I live. I'm currently house sitting, and the dog that I was showing y'all on the B-roll is literally the owner of the house's dogs. Her name is Dakota, and I'm just also dog sitting as well, so a lot of my time has been spent on, you know, keeping her company, giving her some attention, pets, all the things, making sure she has her exercise, and make sure she's fed and has water, so a lot of that. But I did manage to get actually a lot of reading done today, which was surprising. So I have read another 2 hours and 5 minutes as another pit stop, and in that time I have finally finished reading If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English by Noor Naga. This, y'all, was really, really good. It's actually it's kind of weird in the sense of structure and form because of the way that the author likes to play with how to tell the story narratively. Like, again, like I think I said in the first part, it was questions and then we have answers, but the questions aren't always answered when we get to like the prose and the story part. Sometimes it is related and other times it's not. So it's kind of more, I feel like those kind of questions are things that you just need to keep in mind while you're reading. And I really, really like those bits, honestly. I also did actually like part 2 because that's actually when the two characters who are like lovers, things happen in their relationship and it's kind of them kind of like figuring out themselves in the second part. Part 3 was really trippy. It got a little bit meta, honestly, with part 3. They made me go, what is going on here? And I actually kind of like it, not gonna lie. I don't know really what to say because like I feel there's so much in here and there's so much I want to say, but like it'll be a spoiler, so I'm not gonna say too much honestly about this. But I will say again, if you have not read this book, you have it on your TBR, you have it physically, you want to borrow from your library, borrow from the library, read it from your TBR, do whatever, because this book is really good. And I do recommend the audiobook because again, there's a male narrator, but also the author also narrates as well, and I highly recommend the audiobook. But I really did enjoy like reading through this physically, annotating stuff. Like I think my mod liner was mostly dried out, so I did a lot of annotating with the thing. So very, very, very satisfied. Not gonna lie. So very much enjoyed. Give it 4.5 stars. There were definitely parts of I'm like, I didn't feel quite as satisfied, but then also I think it worked thematically for other things, especially with regarding the characters, and I think the overall message on regarding like identity, culture, power, class, privilege, gender, and how all that intersects with each other. I just think that like what Noor Naga wrote here was so good, and I really want to read something else from her. I don't know when there'll be another book by her, but whenever it comes out, I'll let y'all know. And now that I've read this, I'm very excited. So yeah, this was a debut novel actually. It came out a few years ago, I think 2022. So definitely an author, a writer in general, honestly, I need to be looking out for in the future. And then, since I had some time left, I figured, you know what, let's read this next book here because I knew that I'll be able to finish it pretty quickly. And that is Force of Noise by Musab Abu Toha. This is his newest poetry collection that came out last October. This one's pretty similar to Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear, where he talks about Palestine and occupation, but I think this one, Force of Noise, is more so connected with the current phase of the occupation of Gaza, with the bombing, the different kinds of bombs and the warplanes as well that I didn't even know specifically, and also about like surviving in that constant bombardment and and also missing living in like Gaza because of all these things that was beautiful and all these trees and all these land and the family, only for it to all be stripped away from you. And it's very much, it does remind me again, it's pretty similar to Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear. I'm not going to rate this since it is nonfiction. Also, I have a hard time rating poetry anyways, but this is definitely one that's in line with like Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear. So if you read that poetry collection, you will enjoy Forest of Noise. So yeah, very much recommend reading this. And this is definitely a book I'm reading for that actually very much fits into the Asian Readathon. So one book down for that. And also that's it for today. I literally read over 250 pages and I managed to read both of these books. Sure, they're both short, but like, that's not the point here, okay? I managed to read 2 books in a day. That's the focus here, all right? So now, for the next like 4 hours and 10 minutes for this challenge, I plan to read the third and final book in the Brown Sisters trilogy, Act Your Age, Eve Brown. This will be my next focus. I don't know if I can actually finish reading this book in 410 minutes. 400. In 4 hours and 10 minutes, I really do not know. I hope I can. We shall see. Since it is like a contemporary romance, so I feel I'll be able to fly through, but we shall see if I can finish it. If not, read as much as I can. But yes, that's all I have for you right now. As you can tell, I'm feeling really, really cozy. It is 11 p.m. at night, so I think it's best if I just hit the hay, get some sleep, and then bright early in the morning, and read as much as I can of Act Your Age, Eve Brown. Salutations, y'all. It is Tuesday morning, even though it's dark outside because it's past midnight. It's actually almost 1:30 in the morning. I was supposed to have this vlog done way sooner. It was not supposed to last until now, but we are here. It is fine. I'm just tired. I honestly was kind of struggling to focus on reading for this next update, to the point that I didn't even read the third book that I actually told you I was planning on reading. Look at that. I finally switched things up. Like, I was kind of surprised, not gonna lie, that I managed to follow along on TBR pretty closely, only for me to switch it up in the third and final book. So this time around, I am reading The Dawn Hounds by Sacha Stronach. So this is the first book in the End Song trilogy. This is a queer, Maori-inspired fantasy, sci-fi kind of novel that we're following honestly, I'm too tired to figure out what the main character's name is right now, and I don't know. We're following a cop who used to be a thief, who recently was just been murdered, but then was brought back to life by some mysterious power. So that's what we're doing now. The fact that it's like, oh shoot, I was shot at. I died, and then now I'm back. I came back to life, and now she's trying to figure out what to do with herself right now. To be quite honest, this was a book I had on my shelf for I think a year, maybe a year and a half, and I didn't really realize, because for some reason, I don't think I re-looked that closely in the synopsis, but like, I did not realize that the main character in this book was even a cop. I did not realize that at all. I guess I saw queer Maori-inspired fantasy debut and didn't just call that a day. And then I saw the fact that it was blurred by Thamesmeer, Rebecca, and Roaring Horse. I was like, oh, okay, sure, yep, I'm gonna pick it up. And honestly, I'm not regretting my time, but I'm not the most intrigued, especially for the fact that the main character was a cop. But I do think things are definitely gonna change, because also I saw a little bit more of the synopsis that there will be a pirate crew. Like, the main character would join a pirate crew, and honestly, I'm very intrigued about that part of the story. And I do need to read, and I really want to read this book for Reddit Fantasy, for the bingo prompt of the pirates. So very much reading for kind of that kind of a plot, honestly. But it is interesting. It's a biopunk world, which I'm like, okay, I'm here for that. And then there is gonna be some body horror, and there has been a little bit of it so far, and I approve. I love me some body horror. I love me some biopunk world with body horror, so I'm just here for that. Honestly, I'm really just following along with the audiobook because there's just no way I could probably read this with just my eyeballs, but I would not fully focus, so this is gonna be a heavy read project for me. And I made it to like page 97, so it's like the beginning of chapter 10 here. So nearly a third of the way through, which is not too bad. But it's not a book I don't think I will love. Like, this doesn't give me 5 stars or anything, so right now I'm like, okay, can it at least be like a 4-star? Maybe it'll end up being a 4-star in the end, but right now it's giving 3.5 territory, which is not bad. So still worth reading, in my opinion, to keep reading if it's going to end up 3.5. So I'll take that. Even if it ends up being like a 3, I'm like, well, it's a book I owned. My TBR, I'm just glad I read it. First book in a series, all the things. But preferably, I would like this to be at least 3.5 to make it a little bit more worth my while. But honestly, I don't really have much thoughts right now. It's late. I'm kind of a little bit tired. But also, I didn't really get much further into it, and I was not in the mood to really be reading much, but we shall see. So hopefully later on today, I will continue reading either Dawn Hounds, or I'll be reading something else. I mean, preferably a little bit longer in the Dawn Hounds, just so I can like really decide if I'm going to continue reading this or not, or that if I need to unhaul it and like DNF it. Like, that's what I want. Like, I want to read a book for far long enough to really decide, do I DNF and unhaul, or do I just keep reading it? And then if I finish it, I gotta figure out if I'm going to keep it or not. Like, am I going to continue on with this series? Like, the series is not complete. The second book in the series came out last year, and the author's working on the third and final book in the series, so I'm actually kind of curious to see if I enjoy this book enough to continue with the series. Am I looking forward to starting a whole new fantasy series? Not really, but I'm gonna at least give it a shot. And also because I never read a fantasy book quite like this before, so I want to at least give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a fair shot, and so far I'm nearly at the third of the way through, so I'm definitely giving it an old college try here being DNFing, but I don't quite want to DNF, so that's at least a good sign. That's what I have for y'all right now. I need to go to bed because I need to wake up early later on today, so I'm going to go to bed, and then hopefully tomorrow I will update y'all for the final time, get to the finish line in this reading challenge. So let's talk later. All right, y'all, so it is still Tuesday. It's Tuesday evening right now, and I should have hesitated to even like do this update, but I'm like, look, we gotta wrap up this vlog. So at the finish line, not my best race, I will say that much, because for this last bit here, I really was like, okay, I'm tired of reading. I don't want to keep reading, but I did read more of Ocean's Godori by Elaine Yu Cho, which I did not continue on reading the Dawn Hounds. I was like, I don't know if I want to keep reading about this main character anymore. So I went with Ocean's Godori instead, and I kind of like it, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm like really in a sci-fi mood or not, but this was a space opera. It's a Korean space opera specifically, and that's kind of what I know about it, honestly. Like, I didn't know what this book was quite about before I picked it up, but I do remember I placed a hold on because of Angela from Literature Science Class. She really enjoyed it, so I was like, okay, let me just place a hold on the audiobook, and then the audiobook came in. And I was really confused on what was really going on, because I was just listening to it via audio. And then I was like, wait a minute, let me see if I can borrow the ebook. And then I got the ebook, and I did a little bit of hyper reading. So based on my understanding of what I kind of gleaned from earlier parts of the audiobook, was that we follow a main character named Ocean, who is a disgraced space pilot with some sort of ruining of a reputation of some sort. And I think the story shifts in perspective between her, this other guy, and this other guy that she was friends with that's like part of this rich family or something. And we haven't got points, I haven't gotten to the point in the story where there's a part of the synopsis that has to deal with this other guy that's part of this rich family. So honestly, I'm not quite certain of what's going on, since I really was not looking at the synopsis. So I'm just like kind of along for the ride here. But I am intrigued though, since now that I have the audiobooks, I can read with my eyeballs as well as following along with the audiobook. So that's helpful for me. I think I'm like, this needs to be, I have a read moments just like the Dawn Hounds, but like, yeah, was not really quite in the mood this time around to just read with my eyeballs. So yeah, this last leg of the race was a struggle compared to like the previous legs. But I'm just glad that this challenge is just over. In fact, I'm just putting myself making it over, because I don't want to keep this vlog going any longer. So let's just wrap up all the books that I read. I don't really have much physical. I don't feel like picking up anything, so sorry editing me, you're gonna put up all these book covers in the screen. So I did start off with finishing If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English by Norinaga. I started it before the vlog, finished it in this vlog, gave it 4.5 stars, really enjoy it, definitely recommend. Force of Noise poetry collection by Musab Abu Toha. This one I got from the library, which I did return to the library, so that's why I don't have it with me physically. I'm leaving it unrated, but it's just as good as Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear. And then I started reading The Dawn Hounds by Sasha Stronach, and started reading Ocean's Godori by Elaine Yu Cho. So not much actual thoughts on those books. But yes, that's it for this reading challenge. This was a bit of a challenge. It was kind of challenging, not gonna lie. And I did not realize how much of a challenge it would be, just because of like, surely this vlog is a little bit of a mess, because like I started off when I was house sitting and dog sitting, and now I'm back home, and it's been a few days since I started the vlog to now, and I don't know, I was just not quite in the mood to be reading. But I still tried, I still did other things, even as I struggled. And honestly, thanks to Sid from Sid Bookworm for creating such a challenge like this. Like, I do think this is actually pretty fun to do. It's just that not quite in the headspace to quite do it. But I'm glad I did it now, especially since the Indy 500 is going on, I think, now as I'm recording. And hopefully by the time that this video goes up, the Indy 500 is still going on by the time y'all see this video. We shall see. All I know is it happens in May. So that's actually pretty cool in my timing. But also, this video was supposed to be for when I first got 500 subscribers. And that kind of fell on the wayside back then, since I was really getting started in a little bit of a rainy slump, honestly. So that kind of sucks. But anyways, again, thank you all belatedly for 500 subscribers. And right now, I'm actually on my way to getting 600 subscribers. So that's actually still pretty cool. I don't think I'll do a reading challenge like this still for reading like 500 pages for, 600 pages for 600 minutes in order of 600 subscribers. Don't expect that, because I don't see myself doing that. But I would like to celebrate if I ever, whenever I get to 600 subscribers for that as well. But still though, thank you all for watching this video. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe if you're new here and you like the vlog and all the things. Also, do check out Sid's video down in the video description below if you are curious about a challenge vlog like this. Also, comments down below. Would y'all do a challenge like this yourself? Whether you're a content creator or not, like would you actually make a challenge like this, reading 500 pages in 500 minutes? Could you do it? Honestly, I'm curious. I would like to know what you would think. If not, that's fine. Let me know your thoughts on these books that I've finished reading or started reading, all the things. And if you made this far into the video and you're not sure what to say, but you wouldn't leave me an emoji, let me know you're here. You gotta leave me a checkered flag emoji, obviously, for the Indy 500 or a car. But I think a checkered flag would really work for this one here. Anyways, thank you again for coming on to this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!